What's good, the peoples? How's everybody doing today? Doing some behind the scenes, looking at some numbers, because the little bar on the screen says about 25 members, but YouTube only reports 18. So something about the overlay plugin I use is miscounting the number of members that I have on the channel. And I'm not totally sure why. I suspect that it's not keeping track of people who's like signed up for membership last month but didn't renew it this month, maybe? Or it's counting people who did renew this month as additional members instead of renewals? I'm not totally sure. I'm gonna have to look into it, I guess. I'm not a big fan of the overlay software I need to use with YouTube. The stuff that I used to use for Twitch was way, way easier to understand. But we'll get it figured out. I don't think we're gonna do any story stuff today. I don't think we're gonna make any story progress at all. I think we're just gonna grind. So what I think I'll do is get these El Noel cards. We still need 6 of them. Yes? Yeah, we still need 6 El Noel cards, and once we have them, we have to grind up ammo refine, which should only take a few minutes. It only needs 30 AP, and then we can go make Squall's weapon, Lionheart. Once we have that, I think we might switch over to Final Fantasy X and do some monster collecting. I don't know how long I'll be able to stream today. I'm starting a little later than I wanted to. I did watch most of the inauguration. Is this the right spot? I thought this was the right spot. Where's the people's doing the push-ups? There they are. We need my kid to come downstairs. Looks like he's not coming. But just in case we have a shorter than usual stream today, I think we'll just do some grinding stuff. Once we get all this squared away, we will do some stuff in Final Fantasy X. And that way I won't have to have all of the El Noel grinding in the actual playlist for Final Fantasy VIII. Hi, kid. I'm back, and we're gonna play more cards. I've never watched a presidential inauguration before. Today was the first time that I'd ever done that. It was pretty emotional, I'm not gonna lie. That's a weird thing for you to play. You can't do a sane if I do this, though. I think this is safe. You need a 6A in either direction. You don't have one. So yeah, 6 more El Noels, and then we can... Actually, I don't think I can get AP without advancing the plot, at least a little bit, because we're about to get Irvine. Once I can just leave with Squall and go do some quick grinding outside. I don't think it'll let me leave, though. I'm going to take another corner. He's going to take Ifrit. So we play to a draw. It's like I just said on Twitter a few minutes ago. Like, it just feels good to have grown-ups back in charge. It it really does. Like, I really, really need that in life right now. Not only that, but this week my wife actually got her COVID vaccination, so I don't have to worry about her getting sick anymore. I'm probably not in line to get one for months still, but I'm not worried about me getting sick. I was worried about her, so that's been something that's just been eating away at my psyche since last year. And it started out because weekends she works at a hospital. That's why she's able to get the vaccination so early. Early, he says, as though everybody shouldn't be getting the vaccination. And so originally it was like, oh, well, he's gonna do this to me again. No, I can block him. I can block him from spinning anything. Originally it was just like, okay, she's in a hospital, she's in, like, she's at higher risk of getting COVID than most people were at that time. And she has various comorbidities which make it more likely that if she had gotten sick, that she would have gotten really sick. So it's good to know that that's not going to be weighing on me anymore, at least in the short term. This is... You can match me on the bottom, but not flip me. Oh, that's an element anyway. Never mind. I couldn't do anything about that. But then during the week, her job is she's a school teacher. And so at the time, schools in my county were closed back when we were getting like 900 new cases a day in Florida. And now we're getting like thousands of new cases a day. So at the time, it's like, oh, well, when the schools are closed, so she's not in any danger of getting sick from school. But then in July, our governor announced that schools would be opening for whatever stupid reason he had that didn't make any sense to me and still doesn't. So it's just been weighing on me all year long. Like, any day now, she's gonna get sick. And if she does, she's at higher risk of getting really, really sick. But she didn't. We both know people who have gotten sick with the virus. We both know people who have died from the virus. We just got news yesterday that one of her uncles is getting very sick now. So it's like, it's not gone, obviously, but for me personally, the person that I care about the most is much safer now than she was last week. Thank goodness. And then we have a new president that probably isn't going to try to destroy the country. So it's like, good things all around are happening this week. So yeah, it's been an emotional day. That's why I wasn't streaming earlier this morning. I'd never watched the presidential inauguration before. I've never cared enough. It's like, whatever, new president, it's fine. But for some reason, it like felt really important today that, yeah, I should probably watch this. And I'm glad that I did. I don't think you can sane me here. You don't have a 3 over there. You can flip that, but it doesn't matter. You can't flip any of these, so you're just done. If we have to get a shot every 5 months, I'm okay. I will happily get a COVID shot every 5 months if I have to. If the alternative is getting the disease, like... The next thing that I worry about is not enough people are going to get vaccinated because it is going to be voluntary, apparently. Like, you can choose not to get the COVID vaccination if you don't want to. My next worry is that not enough people will get vaccinated that will have herd immunity from it. That's what I'm worried about now. Because some people can't receive the vaccination for whatever reason. And if you can't receive the vaccination, you have to rely on herd immunity. But if we don't get a critical mass of people receiving the vaccination in this country, we're never going to reach that number. And then so some people will just always be at risk. And that's not cool. Some people are always going to insist it's a hoax. Some people are going to always insist it was not as bad as it actually was. That's one of the things I actually really enjoyed today with... you're going to flip this, but it doesn't matter. During President Biden's speech, mentioning that... Like, he didn't shy away from saying the number of people who've died in America of COVID. And he didn't shy away from comparing it to something... I think he compared it to the Second World War. People should be making that comparison. It's apt. It's true. It's what's actually happening. I can flip you. You're going to flip that back, but it don't matter. I need to use Siren to flip you. You don't have an A, so you can't sing me. I'm going to take this elm oil. You just watch. You don't have an A. Do you have a 4-8? You don't. You can't sing me. None of these are safe to play, though. Do you have a 2? You don't have a 2 or a 9. Yeah, there's always going to be those people, like, that are going to insist it's a hoax or insist that the vaccination is 5G government mind control or whatever. Like, the way to combat those conspiracy theories is to not let them go unchallenged, to not let them stand. Like, if you know somebody who says that kind of nonsense, the way to combat them is to challenge them every single time they say it. Never, ever let their words go unchallenged. Like, whatever, Grandpa. No, point out to Grandpa that he's wrong and why he's wrong. And do it every time. You see it online or at home, it doesn't make a difference. The more we can project truth out into the world, the more truth will be out there. I think over the past couple of years, YouTube especially... Is that another elm oil I see? We're scooting along, buddy. I know YouTube has done pretty well in combating conspiracy theories the last couple of years by, like, if you make a video about a conspiracy theory, YouTube puts a little link under the video saying this is a conspiracy theory. Here's a link where you can go learn the actual topic. Usually a link to, like, a Wikipedia page or something. But I first started noticing it on, like, flat earth videos. But it's also popped up on, like, all kinds of alternate history channels. It's popped up on Holocaust denial. I've seen it on election conspiracy videos. And a lot of people got really upset because their videos got flagged by YouTube as not being truthful. But they didn't literally take the videos down unless they were, like, against terms of service somehow, like if they were literally like an incitement to violence or something. And I think that is exactly what we need to do. We need to not restrict people from saying dumb things, but make sure the dumb things never go unchallenged. That's what I've learned this year, watching the Black Lives Matter riots, and watching the COVID deniers, and watching the election conspiracy. Like, I've never been a supporter of conspiracy theories, but I've always been a kind of live and let live kind of guy. Like, whatever crazy thing you want to believe, as long as you're not hurting somebody, it's not my business. But what I've learned this year especially, well, this past year, it's not 2020 anymore, but this past year I've learned it actually is my business. It's always been my business, and I was just looking for an excuse to not speak up about it. And I think I'm done with that. I'm not going to let that happen anymore. So, But today's a good day, so today I'm happy. Tomorrow, who knows? Anything can happen between now and then, but today is a good day. Today I'm happy. Your 6 can't take my 6. Sorry, buddy. I don't think I need any more Malboros, because now that I have bad breath already. That being said, I am not going to turn into a politics channel. I'm not going to use my channel as a soapbox. Like, it's not going to turn into that. That's not in the cards. Fortunately, I don't get a lot of chances, especially on YouTube, of like having to pronounce or defend my politics. Although I'm more inclined to do that now than I was, I think. I'm not a political person by nature. It's not a topic that really interests me a lot. A lot of people have politics. There's another elm oil. They're just popping out. Remember yesterday went like 2 hours and didn't see any? Now they're everywhere, left and right. Politics as a topic is just not something that interests me. That's not to say I don't have political opinions. It's just... it's not a topic that interests me. I don't get any joy out of thinking about it or talking about it usually. He can flip Cypher, and I think that's fine. Yeah. Cool. Give me the other oil. Oh, so good. So I hope everybody else was able to breathe a sigh of relief along with me today. Glad that people are having a good day, and I know that there are people in my life who are not. I know that there are people in my life who think today is a bad day. They are wrong, and I'm not spending a minute of my day today with those people. They're not on my call lists. Oh, speaking of my phone, I need to turn my phone down so it doesn't go off during my stream. Okay. That's how you know you failed as a streamer, is when your phone goes off in the middle of the stream. I am not giving 1 second today to the conspiracy theorists or the hate mongers or the racists of the world. I'm going to play some Final Fantasy, then I'm going to eat some ice cream. That's my plan. That's my plan for the day. This is not... I don't have a safe way to take that. I can safely pack up into this corner, though. I was just making sure he wasn't setting up a same there, but he was not. The general consensus does seem to be that, like, people are fine with watching just endless streams of Triple Triad in the Final Fantasy VIII playlists. That said, I would like to have as little grinding in the actual playthroughs as possible. You don't have a 7 on the left, so I can Keystis you. You do have a 7 on top, so I can't safely take this Cactar at all. Making sure he can't say me with the Ruby Dragon, but I'm going to take the Ruby Dragon. I don't endeavor to see anybody as a monster, but I will say that I've had people in my life that I did not expect would ever support things like racial bigotry or sedition that actually surprised me when they did. And it was very saddening to see that they did as well. Like, I have to see those people in a different light. Like, oh, like, you didn't do anything overtly racist the first 30 years that I knew you, but you definitely are now. But I don't have to worry about that today. Like I said, I'm not dealing with those people at all today in my life. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm a big proponent of if somebody is in your life that's not doing good things for you, like if they're not a positive influence in your life, of cutting them out if they're not willing to change, or not willing to like make you understand in a civil way like why they can't change. That's just a place that I had to get to. I had to get to it years ago when 20 years ago when I realized I was an atheist. Every single person in my life is a Christian. So I had to square that circle somehow. And with some of those people, that's where this like live and let live attitude kind of originally came from, I think. Some of those people was just, oh, it's fine. Like, we don't have to argue with each other. Like, we're not going to hate each other. We're just going to believe different things. And some people are capable of that. But not everybody is capable of that. Some people, if you believe a different thing, they just will never, ever let you hear the end of it. They will never change their mind. They will never treat you like a reasonable person again. And I had a few of those people, unfortunately, 20 years ago in my life. And I just... my life is better without those people. They're off doing their thing, and I'm off doing mine. And as long as neither of us are hurting anybody, I don't see the problem. But most of the people in my life, I was able to come to a good equilibrium with. It's like, hey, I believe this thing you don't believe. We're not going to kill each other over it. Thankfully, some of those people, I mean, my parents, all four of my parents. I have a couple of religious friends that I was able to keep a hold of. And it's not that I haven't had disagreements with some of these people over the years. It's not that I haven't tried to change their mind or tried to have them change mine, because I definitely have. It's just, there's a civil and an uncivil way of doing that. And I have no tolerance anymore for people who try to do it in an uncivil way. So I do have people in my life now that are COVID deniers, like really like hardcore COVID deniers, or who supported the election conspiracy, or like I'm gonna have to go through the same process with those people now. Like, okay, which of these people are going to be reasonable? Which of these people am I going to be able to maintain a relationship with going forward? I don't think you can do anything about this. No. But all I know for sure is that my wife is not one of those people, and she's the only other human being that I'm going to see today. So the rest of today, I don't have to think about personal relationships that I now have to massage in the wake of all the changes the country's going through and the things that I've changed my mind on this past year. Because I have never in my life been more, like, shaking angry as I was during the insurrection on the Capitol. Can you say? You can't say me. You could if I played Ifrit, but I didn't play Ifrit, so you're screwed. Like, watching that unfold on the news, I was more, like, physically angry than I can ever remember being in my life. And to know that there are people out there that support that and think that that's patriotism is extremely unnerving to me. Even today, like, even still. Like, there are people who will defend those actions. But I also came to realize, though, like, part of that was, like, I'm complicit in some of that. Because there are people in my life that I had the opportunity to reach and decided not to because I just didn't want to. Okay, you're saying something I don't agree with, so I'm just going to tune you out and not listen. I don't have to listen to what you have to say. I don't have to consider your point of view at all. I certainly don't have to respond. It's not my job. But it is my job. It's everybody's job. When somebody says something that's misinformation, when somebody says something that's not true, it is my job to point out that it's not true. It is my job to try to combat the misinformation. It's my job to help ensure that there's more truth out there than lies. Like right now, no, the Black Panthers did not do the same thing in the 1980s. No group has ever pushed their way all the way into the U.S. Capitol, into the physical building, and put politicians' lives in danger. That's a piece of misinformation that you're spreading. That's just a not true thing that you're trying to spread. And I'm not going to let it go. You're either going to have to support that with evidence or retract it. People said the same thing, like, oh, there was that one group that took over, what was the name of the building? What was it, Minnesota, back in, like, 2016? Like, it was like a, I don't even remember what it was. It was some kind of nature reserve. They took over a building. Like, oh, that's the same thing. No, it's not. That was not the seat of government in the United States of America. It's a very, very different thing. Yes, we've had people in this country, extremist groups, that have taken over buildings or taken over certain land for short periods of time. It's never happened with the seat of government. Ever. The last time somebody forcibly took our capital, we were at war with a foreign power in the 1800s. That's the last time that it's happened. So, that's it. You're just not correct about that. You are just wrong to equate what happened during this insurrection to anything, really, because nothing like it has ever happened. I can't safely take anything else, but neither can he sanely here. Enjoy. The same thing happened back in the summer. I made a video for YouTube. There's my elm oil. Put it in my face. I made a video for YouTube supporting Black Lives Matter in the wake of the riots and protests and things. Because the reason I made that video was because I'm not a very political person by nature. Like, I had never gotten the inclination to, like, want to protest before. Like, I never wanted to physically go to a protest until this summer, the Black Lives Matter protests. Like, I felt so strongly about that, and I was so upset about what was happening that I'm like, I should go. Like, I should go, but I can't. I couldn't go protest because we were stuck at home in quarantine. I'm not gonna win this. God damn it, that elm oil slipped through my hands. So that video was like my way of going to a protest without actually going to a protest. And on that video, there was comments, people saying like, oh, what about this other thing that this other group did in some point in time? Like, sure, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what's happening now. And your thing is not the equivalent of what's happening now. So your thing doesn't matter for this point of this conversation. I'm not particularly interested in what the Black Panthers may or may not have done 30, 40 years ago. I'm interested in what insurrectionists did in my country this past week and what they're going to do in the future. That's what I'm concerned about. And I know I've got friends and family I'm going to have to really talk to about this in the near future. Like, okay, are you still supporting this or not? Whataboutism is... This is going to be really funny, but literally is the worst thing that both political parties in this country do. The whataboutism is strong on both sides. It really is strong on both sides. Because everybody does it, because it's human nature to, like, want to equate something that just happened with something else that happened in the past. And sometimes that's valuable to do, but sometimes it really isn't. Right now, I think anybody who's pointing like, oh, look at what this other group did 30, 40 years ago, it's basically the same thing, kind of, if you squint. None of that is going to help us work on the actual issues we have to work on right now. Like, none of that is actually going to get us to make a step forward. Because once you engage in any kind of whataboutism, like, oh, but what about the Benghazi thing, or her emails, or whatever, you're giving a pass to the person that you're not talking about. Hey, this person did something really bad. Hey, but what about the other time this other person did something bad? Now you're not talking about the first person anymore. Now the conversation has changed. That has been such a profound tool that, especially this past couple of years with the rise of the alt-right, has used so successfully. And I didn't even see how dangerous it was until just this past year. That's how long it took me to really notice how dangerous that kind of talk was. But now I know, and I'm not gonna fall for it anymore. I'm just not interested in equating something that happened 30, 40 years ago with something that happened last week. Because the thing that happened last week is the thing that's really important to me now. I'm still salty that we let that LML code go. We let it go and now it's gone forever. The other thing that I won't engage in, though, the other thing that I have told myself I'm going to not do, because every time that I see it, it's like, that's the wrong move. It makes me wince when I see people that I respect or that I really like is right now there's a big no, I didn't hit 25 members on YouTube. We have 18 members. For some reason the bar on the screen is not reporting accurately. I'm not sure why. So that's fake news. Don't listen to it. It's a conspiracy. We don't have 25 members. Oh, we have 18 at the moment. But okay, so somebody like a content creator will go on their platform, on Twitter or on YouTube or something, and be like, this is my political view. If you don't agree with it, unfollow me. My stuff's not for you. I think that's harmful. I don't think that's the right way to act if you're a content creator. Because you're telling the people that most need you to help change their minds, you're just telling them, I don't care about changing your mind. And I think it's wrong to do that. Like, I don't think that's helping anybody. the insurrection was not a big wad of nothing. Terrorists in my country stormed my seat of government and threatened the lives of elected officials. That's not a wad of nothing. Not even a little bit. It is the most horrific thing I've ever seen in 40, almost 40. I'm 38. I'll be 39 next year. I've never seen anything. That's the kind of thing I'm used to seeing on the news when I'm watching another country's government fall. I'm still hassling the kid. We still are. We're not doing any story stuff today. We're just doing grinding stuff. I can't take that elm oil. I can't do it safely. So I'll take that instead. You can't same me. You can't take me from the left. That should be safe. Taking the elm oil. We only need 2 more. We're trucking along. But that's exactly the kind of harmful thing that I want to make sure that I don't let go unchallenged. If somebody's going to say, it's not a big deal that people attacked the seat of government in the United States, it is a big deal. It's probably the biggest deal I've ever seen when it comes to, especially a transfer of power in my country. I've never seen anything like it. It was this, I can't remember a scarier day in my life than watching that unfold on the news. I woke up on September 11th, 2001, and watched the news all day long. And at the time, I was a moderator on an RPG Maker forum. And I spent a lot of that day on that forum moderating posts about killing Muslims and all kinds of other stuff. A lot of really ugly posts that we had to take care of. And I woke up too late in the day. I didn't actually watch the towers come down. I slept until like past. I woke up when my mom came home for lunch and woke me up. It's like, did you watch the news? No, I hadn't actually. So I woke up probably, I don't know, 11 or 12 o'clock that day. But at no point on September 11th, 2001, or the aftermath of that day, at no point did I personally feel scared for my own existence. There was at no point on that day or the subsequent, like when the airports shut down, which never happened before. All these rumors started going around about how nuclear weapons were going to fly. Like at no point did I personally feel like this could be very, very dangerous for me personally. I know it was dangerous for a lot of people. I had friends who were in the military at the time, and they might have to go overseas. Some of them did. There were rumors at the time that gas prices were going to shoot up to $20 a gallon. I didn't have a job. That happened. I'm just not driving anywhere. But I was living in Tampa Bay, Florida, and I knew, like in my heart of hearts, like whatever terrorist attack is happening and whatever military response there's going to be, like I'm fine. Like nothing's going to happen to me personally. I'm just watching it unfold. As horrific as it was, I knew that like I wasn't going to be hurt. But watching the insurrection last week, like, watching it unfold on TV, or on YouTube, I actually don't watch TV, but, like, this could be the end, like, if they actually get in there and they actually kill a bunch of Congress people, and then the president follows this up by, like, declaring martial law, like, this could be it. I was so scared. But I am complicit in that because I spent years not speaking out against it because I couldn't be bothered, man. I just didn't want to. People said something that I knew was false, that I could show was not true, but I didn't want to get involved. And I have to look back and wonder how many of those people, like just by having a conversation, like I don't want to yell at anybody, I don't want to berate anybody, but how many people, like if I had had a conversation and pointed out, hey, that's not, what you're saying isn't true, and here's why. Like how many people might I have, if not changed their minds, like pulled them back from the brink a little bit. You know what I mean? Like just a little bit. Maybe if all of us do that, if all of us are civil, if all of us do our part in fighting misinformation, it's going to be a lot harder for misinformation to thrive. Oh, I had this moment on January 6th where my wife came home from work. And when she comes home from work, she's always on the phone with somebody. She's always talking on the phone with somebody. And she's always in a good mood because she's super chatty and she's off work now and she's coming home and she's talking to somebody. There's a moment she walks in the door and the dogs are barking and jumping on her legs. And like I go out and she's at the front door on her phone. I've got the news on at the living room, but she hasn't seen it yet. And I just see on her face, like she sees my face and then like just dies. Like I could just see like, oh my God, she could tell there's something very, very wrong right now. Like I'm gonna have, so the look on her face in response to the look on my face, like that is what I'm always gonna remember. Because she's the first person that I talked to about it that day, obviously. She's the only human being I can actually be with at the moment. Oh, it's like this look of horror on her face, like, oh, I can tell something's really, really wrong right now. Oh, it was rough. And then I kept up with the news all night when they finally got the terrorists out of the building and they managed to get back to work, confirming the president, confirming the election. I hope I never have another day like that in my life. I hope I never, ever see anything like that again. No, I want the Ruby Dragon, actually. I'm pretty sure I can mod these now. I've got enough of them, maybe. No, I still need more. Okay. But that's my pledge to you all as viewers. It's not my intent to alienate or dehumanize anybody. I'm not here to insult your political views. I'm not here to tell you to go away and not watch my content. But if you spout misinformation and you're within earshot of me, you're going to get challenged. That's what I think everybody should do. You shouldn't shout at anybody. You shouldn't dehumanize anybody. Don't yell at people, don't be mean, don't be bad, but you can stand up to misinformation without screaming about it, and I think that's what I need to do. I do still think there is a lot coming. Like, there's still, a lot of stuff is still up in the air, and a lot of stuff is still to be seen. My government's being tested a lot right now on a lot of fronts, and it's going to be a lot of work to make sure that it stands up and remains strong in the face of everything that's happening. I think today was a really good step in the right direction. I watched Biden's inauguration, and yeah, he said a bunch of just kind of feel good stuff, the kind of stuff you'd expect any career politician to say, but he also said a lot of stuff that was really right. He didn't call the insurrectionists, oh, they're just protesters. Like, he didn't give them a pass. He called them what they were. He compared them to what he needed to compare them to. As far as anybody on the political right being unheard, though, we've been listening to it for 4 years. The people on the right in this country, conservatives, have had 4 years to tell us what they want and to put their policies into action, and all that they've done is spread invective and conspiracy theories, and just they haven't done anything positive. If I play Ifrit here, I get saned. I play Ifrit... Yeah. No, 4-4. I don't get samed. I need to play here. I used to hold that opinion. In fact, back in 2016, when Donald Trump first got elected, that was my opinion. Like, well, this is what happens when you don't listen to so many people of a particular political affiliation. Like, this is what's going to happen. They're going to vote an extremist into office. But as I watched the Trump presidency, what I realized, especially this past year, was those aren't the people that are not being heard. That's one of the reasons that I really wanted to... he's going to same me if I do that. I don't want to do that. He's setting up a same. You see what he's doing? Right in the middle here. He's setting up a same. I cannot let him do it. He can same me in either direction. Okay. We're not going to let him do anything then. Now he can only same me on the top. So I need to play to the top. Cool. I've actually never voted for a Republican president in my lifetime. I voted for other Republicans in other offices. Down ballot a lot. Not a lot, because the Republican Party through my entire life, since the first time I was allowed to vote in 2000, like, their slide into crazy has just been palpable. I thought in 2008 we had a pretty good Republican candidate. I still didn't vote for him because I liked the Democratic candidate a lot better. But it'll be nice when we actually have a reasonable conservative party in this country again. That'll be a very nice thing. But we don't have one now, and it's kind of up to them if they want to have one or not. I can safely build my wall. So, first time I voted for president was in Florida in 2000. And I will say this, that ballot was exactly as confusing as everybody said it was. That ballot was terrible. I remember everybody made fun of Florida in 2000. Jay Leno was dunking on us in 2000 about how old people can't read ballots. That butterfly ballot was designed purposely to be as confusing as possible. And I will say this, if they had used a more standard ballot, George W. Bush would not have won that election. That's all there is to it. I think it still is floating around on the internet. You probably can still find pictures of that ballot, but it was designed by a Republican to be very confusing looking, and it was. That said, at the time, the Democratic Party in Florida didn't challenge the design of the ballot at all. Like, so it's not like the election was stolen. It wasn't illegal. Nobody did anything wrong. My mother will go to her grave believing that George W. Bush stole that election. She will always refuse to accept that it was a free and fair. She thinks it was stolen. Just like my father now believes that Trump's election was stolen. Like, I'm getting it from both sides. But it's like when both parties agree to a set of rules, you have to run the election by that set of rules. It's not fair to come back afterwards and say, but we lost, so the rules were bad. Which is what Democrats would have had to do in Florida in order to overturn that election. Can I same here? No, I can't. I've got to play here, because then he can't flip to the side. Glorious. That's why I think like election reform needs to be a big thing on the docket during the first 2 years of Biden's presidency. Like, so much of our election system in this country is stacked in favor of one of the political parties. And for years, the other political party doesn't really want to change it because once the tables are turned, like, they can benefit from how stacked it is. But I think we've seen how dangerous that all is, and I'm really hoping that Biden and Harris are committed to bringing the election reform they said that the country needs during their campaign. Like, yeah, during 2016, I cannot... Ooh, there's an Illinois. I'm going to take that one. You guys remember 2016, all the Clinton supporters who were, like, complaining about the Electoral College, like, she didn't really lose the election. She lost the popular vote, or she won the popular vote. That's what the real election... Well, no. That's not the election. Sorry, but it's just not. The rules are what they are. You play by the rules that you agreed to. Democrats agreed, let's have this electoral college. They haven't challenged it. They haven't tried to remove it. There's an interstate compact, but they haven't actually been pushing it as part of their political agenda. They went into the 2016 election with the understanding of what the EC was and how it works and what the actual election was going to be decided by. I played that in the wrong spot, and I'm going to lose this game now. No, I'm not. We're fine. You don't have a 9, so you can't say me there. You don't have a 2-1, you don't have a 2-9. Okay, so that's safe. We snuck by that one. Whew. Personally, I think the Electoral College should be abolished. I learned a lot this year about how it actually works and what its original purpose was and why the people who pushed for it, the people who made those compromises, why they actually made them. Some things that I didn't know, other things that I did know but needed to be reminded. I don't have a really good play here. Let's build a wall. But if both parties, if we get around to 2024 and nobody has said, hey, this electoral college system we have is kind of unfair, let's switch it up, let's not do it anymore. Like, if you go into an election, into a campaign season without challenging those rules, you can't complain that the rules were unfair after the fact. You agreed to them. DC and Puerto Rico statehood is another topic that I never really cared much about. But this year I looked into it a lot. It's a topic that I was interested enough to look into and try to learn some stuff about. And yeah, like, there's no reason that Puerto Rico should not be allowed to vote for president. There's no reason that Washington, D.C. should not have representation in the Senate. So I'm going to be looking for those two things kind of specifically. Puerto Rico and D.C. statehood. Is that going to be on Biden's agenda the first 2 years of his administration? Let's see. If he's serious about election reform, it will be. If he's not, it won't be. I actually looked into that quite a bit. In the aftermath of Hurricane Maria a couple of years ago, when it became clear that Donald Trump didn't know that Puerto Rico was part of America, and he went to war with Puerto Rico's government about relief that should be offered, I was disgusted watching that. Like, the President of the United States is basically, like, telling American citizens that he doesn't have their backs after a natural disaster. Kind of messed up, dude. And that's when I actually kind of looked into the history of Puerto Rico statehood and, like, why it's such a contentious issue. So my understanding of the issue is that Puerto Rico's had referendums in the past about whether or not to become a U.S. state. In fact, most U.S. territories do before they become a state. They have a referendum about whether or not they should become an organized territory, after which you can become a state. And sometimes, like, it's never a blowout in their elections. It's never, like... Make sure he doesn't have a 2-7. He does not. He's got 4 7s. It's never been a blowout. It's never been, like, overwhelming support of statehood in Puerto Rico. But their most recent referendums have been in favor. It's the point where, like, we should listen to what the people who live there are saying. They're saying they want to be a state. Let's get the ball rolling. And I do think, I don't hold this opinion very strongly because because Puerto Rico and the other, like, small island territories are the only U.S. territories I've ever known in my lifetime. I wasn't around back during, like, the Oklahoma and Dakota territories. None of us were. But I do think there's a point, like, if you're going to be part of the United States, like, if your population is large enough, or if you have political, like, you should have political influence, like, yeah, there's a point where you probably should need to be a state if enough people live there, even if they say they don't want it. Like, maybe there's a case to be made that, like, lifelong territory status should not be an option. It's undemocratic. We have... what's the population of Puerto Rico offhand? It's like 4-point-something million? Maybe more than that. I'm gonna look dumb if I don't actually get that number right. I better look it up. Let's see. As of the 2020 census, 3.1 million. I was a million off. Like... Even if all of those people say we don't want to be a state, like, it's undemocratic to have 3 million disenfranchised people in a country. It's ludicrous. You can't have that. So even if they did get together and decide unanimously we want to be a territory forever, I think there's a point where the decision shouldn't be between territory and state. The decision should be between state and independence. If you want to be your own thing, you can be your own thing, but once you get to 3.1 million people, that's too many people to have in a republic that are disenfranchised. You just can't at that point. And then, of course, in DC, it's even worse because they live in the nation's capital but don't have representation in the Senate. That's ridiculous. I do think it is the job of the government in some instances to make the people do something they don't want to do. In fact, in some cases, that's like the government's only job. Make people do what they don't want to do. That's really why we have a government. I think I'd rather have the behemoth here to make meteors later. I think that was the Trump administration's kind of tortured points in the aftermath of the hurricane. Was like they receive federal aid, but they don't pay as much in federal income tax. But again, I don't agree with that, because we're at the point where they're human lives and they're citizens of my country. Like, it's our job to take care of them when they're in crisis. Even if they've done something wrong, or even if... Oh, this is bad. No, it's not. I'm still winning. Like, even if 100 million American voters said tomorrow, like, we want, like, child slavery to be a law. We're in favor of forcing children to work in the coal mines. Even if a majority of American voters wanted that, I don't think we should do it. It's not undemocratic to say, no, that ideal goes against a democratic country's stated goals. We're not doing it. Can I flip you? No, I can't. I don't think Puerto Rico statehood is at that point, because their referendums do vote in favor when they hold them of statehood. Sometimes marginally, I think, but I believe that their referendums usually offer 3 options, like statehood, remain a territory, or independence. So, like, even if the margin is like 51% statehood, you have to remember the opposition is split between other options. It's the most popular option on the ballot, typically. And I don't even think DC is allowed to have a referendum. Like, I don't even think they have the infrastructure in place to be allowed to hold a vote on whether they should be a state or not. I like talking to smart people. Let me kind of summarize what I've been saying. I like talking to smart people that disagree with my positions, because I like to challenge the positions that I hold. I don't like to think that any of my opinions are so sacrosanct that they cannot be challenged. I need people in my life who are willing to try to change my mind on things. But it's been so hard these past 4 years to find somebody who is very conservative, or find somebody who's like votes Republican, and have them talk sense, because their party doesn't talk sense, and they have to support their party. So since 2008 really is when I noticed it, when the rise of the Tea Party through Obama's administration, like, Republicans have again and again had to abandon sense and absorb nonsense as part of their platform. I can't remember the last time I've had a conversation with an honest to goodness, like, actual conservative person who has not tried to spread misinformation, or who has not just resorted to personal attacks. It's really sad to think that that's where we are, but I don't have a good sounding board right now, like, to change my political opinions, because every reasonable person agrees that, hey, maybe we shouldn't support the people who stormed the Capitol building. It seems so weird. You can't flip that, can you? You don't have a 5-7. I could flip you from the bottom and be safe. Boing. This is a little thought experiment that I do. Every time I come across an opinion that is stated in a civil manner, like in a way that sounds reasonable, I always try to consider if that viewpoint has merit, even if it's something that I've discounted hundreds and hundreds of times before. Even if it's something that's so obviously wrong that considering it probably isn't going to change my mind, I always try to give it a second. Like, wait a minute, what if this idea has merit? Let me consider it. I try to do this with everything I come across. Political opinions, religious opinions, opinions on climate change and energy policy, to things like Holocaust denial. Is there merit to this idea? Is this worth thinking about? Because that's the first step you have to take to having your mind change, is being open-minded enough to think, is this opinion worth considering? a lot of times it's immediately apparent that this opinion is not worth considering. No. If I read somebody's thing on Holocaust denial, after I give it that like 1 second, it becomes very obvious that no, they're not going to change my mind. They don't have any new arguments to support their position. This position is not worth considering beyond a couple of seconds. But I have to force myself sometimes to give these opinions that couple of seconds. Because if I don't, then I become entrenched in my own viewpoints. And that's when you start taking your step down the path of extremism. Once you get entrenched in your own viewpoints and you stop even considering the opposing viewpoints, no matter how ridiculous or how evil or how upsetting they are, once you stop thinking about them, once you stop being willing to consider them, that's when you've taken your own step down the path to extremism. That's when you start being the person who's like, well, I'm not going to have my opinion on this position changed no matter what I see or what I hear or what I read. That works for me as a skeptic. I know that thought experiment wouldn't work for everybody on every topic, but I think it does help me keep my mind sharp. And there's been a few times when it's helped me change my mind on something I thought I was already correct about. My dear lady mother, who I love dearly, and who I speak to all the time, she has been my rock through COVID quarantine this past year. I cherish the time that I talk with my mother. And she's also, like, anytime I'm feeling depressed or upset about something, I can always call her. She's always there for me. I'm lucky to have her in my life. That said, she is the master of the no true Scotsman. She loves the no true Scotsman fallacy. She trots it out all the time. And I keep pointing it out why it's a fallacy. I'm going to tell you guys a story of a very, very important thing I had to have my mind changed about. Something that I was really entrenched on for years. And I thought, I'm right about this. I can't possibly be wrong about this. It's not reasonable to disagree with me on this topic. So the topic is healthcare. I grew up in the United States of America. We have an abysmal healthcare system. It's absolutely rancid. But growing up, you don't hear people talking about how bad it is. You just hear about how bad every other country has it. So I grew up in just hearing about how our healthcare is just super, super expensive, and there's not really anything you can do to make it less expensive, and other countries are just doing worse by trying to fix a problem that can't be fixed. And I was lucky enough to grow up in a family where I always had access to healthcare. My brother and I never had any major medical problems growing up. We never had to have major surgeries. We didn't have any cancer in our immediate family. So I never went without. We never had to decide oh, do we eat this month or do we take, Ricky to the doctor? That was never an issue for us. Even though I grew up a lot of my life, we grew up fairly poor. I never was wanting for medical. So I always had this idea in my head that medical coverage in this country is basically pretty good. It's based on insurance, and it has to be based on insurance. Because it's so expensive, it's not possible to pay for everybody. It's not possible. You couldn't do it. So I read an article once, because I've got this mindset of let's give this a few seconds. I got linked, I think it was an IRC one night. I couldn't swear exactly when, but it was during the Bush administration. So it's fairly a long time ago now. But we were on IRC one night having a heated debate about medical care. And somebody linked me to an article about how... Oh, there's an Illinois oil. I want it. Let's make sure we don't lose this. About how the NHS, the National Health Service, in the United Kingdom works. And it was just a very dry boilerplate article. Here's how it works. Here's how much it costs. Here's what people get. Here's the expenses they pay out of pocket. It was... I don't even know if it was like a news article. I think it was like a report on the NHS or something. But somebody linked it to me. And let's see if that was my 10th Elm Oil before I complete this story. It was! We are done with Elm Oils! Oh, my goodness. Card mod. Oh, so good. Okay, now am I allowed to leave and go grind up this level? So I went into this article with some understanding of how the US healthcare system works. So it's actually very, very complicated, but basically the way it works is in the US, your healthcare is paid for typically by your employer. You pay into insurance. Insurance pays for your coverage if you need healthcare. If you cannot afford insurance, you're basically hosed. Oh, good. It doesn't let me go out to the world map. Excellent. So I can make sure that I've got Ifrit. He does. It's the only one he has, but he does. Alright, cool. We need to do 30 AP with Ifrit. So if you can't afford insurance in this country, if you're not employed, there's two kinds of socialized medicine. There's more than that. It's more complicated. I'm simplifying. But basically, there's two kinds of socialized medicine in America. You have Medicare, which covers you after a certain age. I think it's 65 currently. Medicare covers the elderly. Oh, bad breath is going to be bad here. I don't want to be fighting here with bad breath. Good thing I just saved. Oh, I can still attack these guys for some reason? Bad breath didn't do anything to me? Okay, fair enough. The other system is Medicaid. Medicaid is for people who can't afford to buy any kind of insurance. Welfare, basically. So those are your three options. You can get insurance from your employer, or there's a system of Medicare and Medicaid for people who aren't employed for whatever reason. That was my understanding of the US healthcare system at the time. So I read this article about how the NH works in the UK, and it made a claim that sounded completely preposterous. I knew immediately when I read it, it was totally false. It was either just a lie or it was misinformation, one of the two. Like, either they were completely wrong about how the US system works, or they were just lying about it. And the statement was that in the UK, at that time anyway, the United Kingdom paid in taxes an amount of money per capita for the NHS, which covers everybody in the UK, as the US spends on Medicare. I thought that statement was preposterous when I first read it in that article. It didn't make sense. I knew immediately it was wrong, because Medicare is only one of the multiple ways that we pay for healthcare in this country. So I was thinking, like, obviously this is not correct. This person didn't do their research. They didn't look into it. They misunderstand what Medicare is. Like, it's only like 1/3 of our total spending. But I had that thing in the back, like, give this a second. Do the fact checking. And I did, and I looked into it, and I found out that no, that's actually, it was accurate. And as far as I know, it still is. In the UK, they spend as much on taxes for everybody in their country as we do just on Medicare recipients. And once I learned that, because I had that moment of look into this, make sure you're right about this. When I found out that I was wrong about it, not only did I change my mind, but I felt really dumb for believing that for so many years. Like, if the US had a single-payer system that was completely socialized medicine, it would be way less expensive than what we do now. So that's just an example of something that I was completely entrenched on and 100% convinced I was right about. But I had to force myself to consider the opposing viewpoint in order to reveal, like, no, you're not right about this. It's not, you're just not right. I need to walk all the way back to Timber now. We got all the Elm Oil cards. We're done with elm oil. I need to go back to timber now and get 30 AP for ammo refine, and then we can make Lionheart. So not only did I change my opinion on healthcare in that, and I've been 100% pro-socialized medicine ever since. But, like, my opinion has changed a lot in terms of, like, how do we know what policies will work? Well, we don't have to theory craft it all the time. Like, sometimes you can just look at another country and see what they're doing. I remember having this conversation in 2016 with some friends of mine who were 100% against raising minimum wage. Like, they're fine with, like, a $4 an hour minimum wage. They don't want to change their mind about it. They're like, if you raise minimum wage to $15 an hour, then we're not going to be able to afford... McDonald's are going to sell hamburgers for $8 a piece. We're not going to be able to afford anything anymore. Well, the argument makes sense, because yes, if you make people pay more than pay a minimum wage that is more than what it is now, they might have to raise prices on their goods or services in order to keep the same level of profits, if that's the case. But we don't have to think about it. We can just look at other countries that have those levels of minimum wage. The country that I looked at was Australia. Australia has had a much higher minimum wage for many more years than we have in America. And I observed that they still buy jeans and McDonald's sandwiches and go to the movies. Like, their stuff, middle class has not been priced out of their goods and services because of it. So because of that, I think it's perfectly fine that we can raise our minimum wage in this country. It's actually been a very useful tool for me to form political opinions. Like, look at another country who has tried the thing that we're arguing about. Do I observe that that country is having problems with it? Is this a game over? Might be, and that's why I'm saving after every battle. And I do realize that there are differences between countries. Like, it is a valid argument that a solution for one country might not necessarily be a good solution for another country. I think somebody just, like, nationalized rail is a great option if your country is small. Kind of not a great option if your country is enormous with population centers spread way far apart across vast swaths of basically nothing. Like, it would be wrong of me to point to a country that has, like, a nationalized rail system and say, they did it, so the US should do it. I do think the US should do it, by the way. I am in favor of much better rail infrastructure than we currently have in the US. But I don't think it's a slam dunk argument to just point at another country and say, they did it, so can we. I do think that's a good starting point, though. It's a better starting point than it's impossible. It's not possible to do, so we can't talk about it anymore. I think pointing at a country that did the thing you're talking about and saying, hey, it works for them, that's a good starting point to determine policy. Because then you actually have to examine why it works, or why it wouldn't work, or why it's not working, or what problems they had to overcome, or whether it would be more difficult for us to overcome similar problems. That's how you start a conversation about policy, not end it before it started. I hope I'm not driving anybody away with all the politics stuff. For those of you who have only been watching my streams on YouTube for a little while and who never tuned into a Twitch stream before, once every few months I'll have like a Real Talk Twitch stream where I just do Real Talk all night long and converse with chat. Because it's intellectually stimulating for me. I like talking to people about stuff. I like hearing about stuff that I might not have considered otherwise. I like it when people disagree with me in a way that's not an attack. And I hope that that comes across. So the thing about the rail system specifically, the rail I want to see happen the most, I want a high-speed rail that links the various population centers in Florida. I think it really sucks that it is such an enormous task if I just like want to spend a day in Orlando. Because I can't just be like, oh, I'll just hop the train to Orlando, even though it's only, like, it's not that far from me. And Orlando is such a cool place, you guys. If you've never been to Orlando, it's so cool. There's so much to do there. There's great restaurants. You can go to downtown Disney. They have a Lego store. You can ride a roller coaster. It's fantastic. Who wouldn't want to go spend the day in Orlando? But it's such a pain in the butt because I got to drive. And it's a 3-hour drive, which means a 3-hour drive home. It would be so much nicer if I could just pop onto the train and buy a ticket and just be in Orlando like 40 minutes later. I'm not 100% sure I'm even going the right way, actually. Yes, I am. I am now. I've never been to Miami. I've lived in Florida since 1987, and I have never been further south in the state than I currently am. This is it. No, that's not true. We've gone down to Sarasota a few times, which is a little bit further south. I've never been to Miami. I've never been to Key West. It's such a pain in the ass to drive anywhere in this state. It's just awful. It's like 3 hours to Orlando, 3 hours home. That's 6 hours. That's like your whole day already. Such a pain. So, when high-speed rail got shot down in Florida, I was very sad. I've heard that from... I've heard that before. Fomer, I'm not sure what country you're from, but I've heard it especially from Europeans before. Like, when they hear an hour's drive, they're like, an hour? That's ridiculous. Who would drive? An hour's nothing. I used to do an hour back and forth to work on the other side of Tampa Bay. That was an hour drive most days. My friends who live on the other side of the county from me, when we play D&D, like that's almost a half an hour drive just to their house, and it's just across the county. I've had a lot of arguments, a lot of debates over the years with European citizens who, from my perspective, don't seem to understand some of the unique traits that the U.S. has, and the vast distances we're dealing with is one of them. Fortunately, I live in the suburbs. The suburbs are the nicest part of the U.S. to live in because it's not, I mean, it's crowded, but it's not like inner city crowded. I don't think I could live in the city, to be honest. I couldn't live in an area that dense. I like going to vacations in those kinds of places, but I could never live in one. And I definitely couldn't live in the country. Screw that. I have family members who live out in the country. My mother-in-law, she's not even like really country, but it's more country than I'm accustomed to. And it's like, I think I mentioned during D&D on Sunday, she has well water instead of municipal city water. And it's unbearable. Living out in the sticks, in rural, oh, it's dreadful. No, thank you. See, now I really want to see Fated Circle, so I can kill all 3 of these guys at once. The reason I'm in a one-person party, by the way, is because there's a story beat in Yalbadia Garden where Irvine joins the party, and I don't want to do that in this stream. Yeah, like, poor Treble. Like, Treble's in my Discord and in my D&D streams and stuff all the time, like, complaining about something that, to me, the solution is don't live in the country. Move. Move somewhere reasonable, where there are other people around you. Like, what are you doing with your life? Get out of the sticks. Gross. I feel that way about everybody I know who lives in a rural area. What are my thoughts on electric cars and American dependence on oil? Let me tell you about my energy policy. Because this is the strongest political opinion I hold by far, and it's not even close to second place. Hold on, let's just see if we got ammo refine. Booyah! We're done here. Hold that thought. I will get back to that thought in a minute, because first I need to ammo refine. Pulse ammo. So this is the strongest political opinion I hold, is the sooner we move our energy grid over to nuclear power, the better humanity will be. I did not say the better America will be, or the better I will be personally. I legitimately believe we as a species will be way better off as soon as we just move our energy grid over to nuclear power. It is the solution to our energy crisis. Why can't I make Lionheart? Hold on. What am I missing? I'm missing something. I might just not have made enough screws or something. Oh, an Adamantoise. Oh, I can't do it yet. Ah, I need Minotaur. I need Minotaur. I need the card mod Minotaur to make Lionheart, because I need the Adamantoise. That's what we're missing. Well... So what I'm missing is an item called Adamantoise, which we're going to get by card modding the Minotaur card, which we can't get until the Tomb of the Ancient King, which we're not going to do today, because it's a story thing. We don't want to make any story progress today. But we have all the other ingredients. We have the Dragon Fangs, we have the Pulse ammo, we just need the Adamantoise. Okay, let's go back to Galbadia and save. Generating electricity with nuclear power is the cleanest form of energy we can do with our current technology that can keep up with our actual energy requirements. Solar and wind and geothermal and hydroelectric power are all terrific in the places where they can be used, but there's no way with our current level of technology we can use them on a scale that will keep up with our current electricity usage. And the solution is not to use less electricity. The solution is not to be less reliant on energy, because we don't want to be less reliant on energy. That sends our society and our culture backwards, not forwards. We need a way to keep up with our energy requirements without damaging the planet and without breaking our economies. And nuclear power is the way to go. fact, I once said, I think I said this in 2016 actually, when Donald Trump ran for president. Like, if Donald Trump told me he was going to be a proponent of nuclear power for the whole time he's in office, and that he would eat a live baby on camera every day, and he could make me believe both things were true, I would still have voted for him. That's how strongly I believe in nuclear energy. Should probably give Ifrit something new to learn now. Summon Magic plus 10 is not something I want to learn. Oh, strength bonus. Yeah. That's the stuff. Reducing energy usage by making things more efficient is a good thing. Because it's not reducing your productivity. You know what I mean? Like, the big thing is like reduce, reuse, recycle. I don't think reduce is a good idea if it means doing less stuff. I don't want to do less stuff. I don't want to limit how much I drive my car in a week. I mean, I don't because quarantine. But let's assume that I did. Like, I don't want to limit how many miles I put on my car. I don't want to limit how much fast food I eat. I don't want to limit how much productive work I can do to keep the economy running. I don't want to limit how many hours a week I play video games. You know, like, we need to find solutions that help us be more efficient and help us generate the same amount of energy without hurting the planet and without reducing productivity. But if we can make our energy usage more efficient, which right now kind of means developing much better batteries for things like solar power and wind power, A+, I'm on board, let's do it. But I think it has to be done alongside building more new plants. I could go get the adamantine drop, but I'm not going to. Because that would take a lot longer. How many do I need? Maybe I will do it. How many do I need? Lionheart ingredients. Just one? On the beach, but you know what? Let's do it. I lied. We're doing it. If it's easy, like I don't have to mug them, do I? I can just drop. Let me make absolutely sure. FFVIII Adamantoise. So yeah, he's on the beach by Dalit. Level 20 Adamantoise will drop an adamantine about 5% of the time. That's reasonable. I think that's reasonable. I don't think we're always going to find level 20 ones, though, because we're only level 21. All right, let's just do it. Let's resign to the grind. That's why we're doing this. I need to... Where's my exit? It's over here. No, it's not. Hold on. I hate this map so much. I can't look in the distance. I can only get this top-down view, basically. Okay, so I can't go that way. I need to go... Where's the entrance to this area? It's over there. Got it. But my problem with a lot of environmentalists out there, I'm just going to run from these guys because they're not Adamantoises. Oh, never mind. They're going to put me to sleep. Like, a lot of environmentalism is about, like, living a crappier life. Like, trying to make you feel like the life you're living is wasteful and bad, and you have to not create so much garbage, or, like, not use so much oil, or not use so much electricity. Like, their solution to the problem involves living a crappier life. And I oppose that for two reasons. For one, I personally don't want to live a crappier life. I like my life. I actually like my life a lot. And I want to keep doing the things that I'm doing in the way that I'm doing them. Until it becomes untenable to continue doing them. But the other reason is, like, let's look at this from the most top-down position possible. It's like, okay, we'll start with this. The universe exists. Does anybody disagree with that? We're going to have a debate about whether or not the universe exists? Okay, the universe exists. The universe is here, and it's real, and we're in it. Like, that, I should hope, it's going to be up the ways, isn't it? Because there's not actually a beach down there. The universe is flat. Yes, we can all agree the universe is flat. So, okay, what is our place in the universe? We actually don't know the answer to that. And we might never know the answer to that. But maybe the answer to what is our place in the universe is it's whatever we make of it. As far as we know right now, in 2021, after millions of years of evolution and billions of years of the Earth being here and billions of years beyond that oh, maybe it is down there. Maybe I gotta go down there and cut a left around the mountain. As far as we know, like right now, there's only one thing in the universe that can like understand itself, and that is the human brain. The human brain, as far as we know, is the most advanced and most beautiful thing in existence from the standpoint of being able to understand the universe. And I think understanding the universe is a moral good. Oh, there's a beach over here I can use. Cool. Let's make sure it's the actual correct beach. Like, I believe that very strongly. Like, trying to understand how the universe works, absent any other device for us being here, is as strong of a reason for why as we're likely to get. So trying to understand the universe is a moral imperative from my perspective. So because of that, like, preservation of the human mind becomes very important. If humanity faces extinction, that is, I mean, it's bad because I'm a human and I don't want to be extinct, but it's also bad because right now, if humanity goes extinct, it's entirely possible there is nothing else in the universe that can understand the universe. There's nothing else to carry on the moral imperative that I believe we have. So avoiding humanity's extinction is important for two reasons. For one, we're humanity and we don't want to go extinct. That's enough of a reason. But beyond that, leaving the universe without a way to understand itself is the saddest possible thing I can think of. So that's kind of where we're starting from philosophically. Like, that's the point where I'm starting from. Earth is billions of years old, and here's what we know for sure is it's not going to be here forever. We know for a fact, scientific fact, stars do not last forever. Eventually they go supernova. I don't know where my trigger went right there. My goodness. Oh, I was pushing the wrong button. That's where it went. If we're still here when the sun goes supernova and we're not anywhere else, that's it. Humanity's done. And as far as we know, there's nothing else in the universe that can understand itself. So we need to get off of Earth as early as we possibly can. It's kind of like the pinnacle of human achievement is getting off of this planet and onto another one, or colonizing somewhere else, so all of our eggs aren't in one basket. Am I ever going to be able to kill this thing? I'm not sure if I can kill these monsters. Because they're doing White Wind for quite a lot of damage. So then the question to my mind becomes like, okay, well, how do we get off of Earth? How do we ensure that humanity will survive into perpetuity? I literally can't kill these things. The best answer that I have to that question is the pursuit of science and the pursuit of knowledge. Understanding the world and making decisions, including policy decisions, that... This is bad. That advance the cause of science and our understanding of the world. I feel like Berserk Unit would be a really great way of dying. I was not expecting to fight two of them at once, actually. My strength is just not high enough to cut them down. Unless I just decide to not White Wind. Oh, now he's casting Protect. That's not good. So wherever science has to go, like whatever we have to do to like invent the technology to get off the planet. Oh, I did kill one of them. I guess as long as I can Resnokuken one twice without getting White Winded. I don't know what it's going to take to get off Earth. Nobody does right now. It's not possible to know. The technology surely doesn't exist right now. It's not even in active development at the moment. I'm still way back here. I gotta get to the beach and then save. But then the question becomes, alright, well, how do we get to that level? Like, how do we decide? Well, we have to make sure that the best and brightest people that humanity has to offer is working on the problem. We have to make sure that anybody capable of working on the problem is not prevented from doing so. The best way to do that is to promote socially progressive policies that make sure that people are not barred from opportunities because of religion or skin color or their gender or anything else. Anybody who wants to and has the mind to consider these problems needs to be given the opportunity to do so. And second, we have to continue to pursue science. We have to continue to better our understanding of the world and continue to invent new things, make life better for ourselves. Because the more we make life better for ourselves, the more people we can have devoted to this problem. So that's why I support socially progressive policies, and that's why I support pro-science policies. Those two things, they're in that foundation of that's how we're going to get off this rock when the time comes. That's how we're going to ensure humanity's survival on a very long timeline, on the span of hundreds of thousands and millions of years, to make sure that there's always somebody here in the universe that's capable of understanding the universe. That's my philosophy. That's my moral and political philosophy. That's where it all stems from. That's where it all comes from. That's how I justify everything I've been talking about today. I want to go to Mars. That's also why, no matter how many times the man shows his ass on social media, I can never, ever join in the criticism of Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk is one of the best people we have alive today because he has the resources and the desire to attack problems that desperately need to be attacked. Space exploration. We're not doing it as a country right now. It's all private enterprise, and he's one of the few people actively doing it as a private enterprise. More to the point, though, the way he's funding it is by using electric cars, which helps to preserve the planet. It's more economical. Like, every time that dude goes on Twitter and says something completely stupid, I'm like, stop giving people reasons to criticize you. You're doing the work, man. Now stop showing your ass. Just shut up and do the work. I think that's a really good way of putting it. He's like one of the best kind of... we need crazy people. You need people whose brains are not normal to do this kind of work. Who cares about space exploration? Crazy people do, right? Oh, this might be bad. Oh, we're blind. We can't be blind, actually. I don't think Squall can be blind. God, it's always fashionable to make fun of Elon Musk. It's like he's doing the work that needs to get done. He's out there actually doing it. He's like, when we finally do get off the planet, like when we finally do take a step off this rock, it's gonna be on the back of the work that he's doing right now to get us to Mars. Like, that's one of the first immediate steps. I think that's true of a lot of, like, captains of industry. That's true of a lot of great innovators who did maybe socially repugnant things, but did them in the service of advancing society. It's a bizarre moral quandary to think of. But, like, yeah, Henry Ford committed basically war crimes and human atrocities and things when it came to his, like, company towns and all the nasty stuff that he did. But it's like we wouldn't have the infrastructure we have today that we needed to progress our technology level without him doing that work. So it's better that he did it, and then later we decided it was socially regressive the way he was doing it, than for him to have not done it in the first place because it was socially regressive, if that makes sense. Do these guys always appear in pairs? They always appear in pairs. I don't think I can win this fight. Unless they just get lucky and they don't white wind. I could junction magic to my... or junction stuff to my magic. I don't have enough demi. In fact, I don't think I've got any demi. We might get this one dead here, though. Like, they didn't white wind at all. Alright, one's dead. I don't think this one's high enough level, either. Thundaga on Element Attack. Yes, that's what we need to do here. That's the ticket. I do have 100 Thundagas, but they're on my strength right now. That's going to be the master plan. It's like getting really hot in here too. My goodness, it hasn't been hot in this room in a long time. I think this one's too low level to drop the thing I need him to drop, but the other one might not have been. Or make it super lucky and get it first try. Okay. I need a GF that has Element Attack. Shiva has it. Zell has Shiva. Okay. Renoa has a bunch of Blizzaga. Ooh, only 63. I bet I can make more. Let's give all this to Squall. Oh, I've got a card mod first. So I know I've got a bunch of these Snow Lion cards. I'm gonna turn my fan up in here. Whew. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry if you can hear the background buzzing, but I did have to turn my AC on. It's really, really hot right now. Okay, Ice Magic, we're fine. So, Junction, Squall, Junction Magic, Blizzaga on the Strength, Thundaga on the Elemental Attack, that should be a way to be. Alright. Suppose the story a few years ago, like there were these kids in a cave in Thailand. They got trapped in a cave. Was it Thailand? It was somewhere in Southeast Asia, I think. I can't recall precisely where, but like Elon Musk was like, oh, I built a little submarine where we can go save the kids in the cave. And like he was showing pictures of his cool submarine that he built. And like one of the divers on site, like who was one of the people in charge of the actual rescue operation, pointed out like the reasons why this submersible vehicle like could not be used in this rescue operation. Like it couldn't physically fit. And then Elon like went on Twitter and was like, oh yeah, but you're a pedophile. Like, what? What the hell are you talking about, man? Get back to the Mars thing. Do the like send a car into space. Do something cool. Don't go on Twitter and call people pedophiles. What are you doing? Ugh. Alright, how much damage are we doing now? Oh, we're opening with White Wind. Okay. Still same amount. Like, nothing... Basically nothing. Are you sure we're weak to Thundaga? No. Typically, reptiles are weak to Blizzard in Final Fantasy games, not Thunder. Alright. Let's switch. Switch around. Switcheroony. Let's try that. I actually thought it was going to take a lot longer to get El Noil cards. I'm going to be honest. We got pretty lucky with El Noil cards. I mean, we just went at them with 100 Thundagas on Elemental Attack J and didn't do any extra damage, so... We're gonna try Blizzard now, because usually reptiles in Final Fantasy are weak to Blizzard, not Thunder. We'll move on to casting action. So I don't really want to cast the actual magic because then I do have a bunch of Blitz cards still left. Like, I can replenish what I use. But I'm going to see if my hunch is correct that it's Blizzard and not Thunder. No, it's the same amount of damage. Elemental Attack J doesn't bother them at all. Wow, so is Elemental Attack junctioning just kind of worthless in this game? Because I put 100 Blizzagas on there. Let's give him Siren as well. Actually, I can just give him... What other GF do you have? Diablos. Okay, so we don't want a junction. Doesn't matter what our strength is, actually. No, we want Blizzagas because we want to cast Thundagas. Good news is I can heal a little bit more since we're not going to be relying on... Oh, wait a minute. One more magic I want to make sure I have. Doubles. It's possible that Elemental Attack J doesn't function on your limit breaks, but if that's the case, like, I'm not going to use regular attacks against them. That's not really tenable either. We're going to see how much damage I can do by casting the magic at them. Double. One of them has shell, which isn't fun. That's not an appreciable amount of damage. That also just sucks. That was the strongest thunder attack I could possibly do. For 600. There is one other thing I could try. guess Quez has it too. Yeah, whatever. No, Quez doesn't have... Hold on, I did this wrong. It's gotta be Siren, yeah. We got 2 demis. We can try this. I don't know what their resistance to death magic is, but they cannot white wind their way out of it. I might be able to refine something into demis, I'm not sure. Let's see if this works first. I could also just summon Diablos to do fractional damage, but it wasn't enough fractional damage to put them down in the carding range. Squall's getting his feet wet. He's going to dry out his shoes. I could turn on the cheat that just gives me 100 of every single spell in the game. But then I couldn't unlock achievements, and I would feel bad about having cheated. Not only the game, but also myself. So they do have some kind of resistance to being killed. Diablo's percent is equal to his level, so it's only like 12% right now. I don't know if this will trigger a status junction. But yeah, we're doing like 250, 260, 300 without any elemental junction right now. That's just his strength. I think this is just this is going to be the best way to do it, is just get lucky on the white wind. I don't know if we have a trickier way to do this or not. Missed a bunch of triggers there. Could I put one to sleep? Maybe. I don't know. They do seem to have high magic resistance. Which means hitting them with sleep is more problematic than it sounds. I think just beating to death with Renzokuken is the best way to go. Keep our health at like 600 or so. I've got 100,000 gil. How do you guys feel about the Final Fantasy VIII overworld music? Blue Fields. Are we pro or anti Blue Fields in this chat? Here's your boys. This is way better than just modding the sacred card. You gotta get more than 4 hits in there, Squall. Generator would be nice, but I don't have Kisis at the moment. I'd have to advance the story to get Kisis back in my party, and I'm committed to not advancing the story at all in this video. Because I'm not putting this particular episode in the Final Fantasy VIII playlist. I want people to be able to watch the end of the last stream, and then pick up the beginning of the next stream and not miss any story progress. That's why the title of the stream today is Resigned to the Grind and not Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. I think I'm going to set up a separate playlist for days like today where we just do naked grinding. Yeah, Lionheart would tear these dudes right up. What is it, like 15 guaranteed critical hits? Pretty good, right? Lots of turtle shells. Can I do anything with turtle shells? Protect? I can make protect spells with these, actually. Maybe that's a good thing to do to them. I can make protect shells. I'm not sure if I can refine things down out of protect shells, though. I don't have this card, and I can make an adamantine with the card, do I? No, okay, it makes a turtle shell. Oh, that's probably where I got the ones that I already had, actually. Like, I want a map mode in this game where north is always at the top of the screen. Top down, north always at the top. Oh, you know what? You're right. I probably can refine them. Let's try that out real quick. We need to tool refine. Let's do all but one. Oh, do we not have the correct... I don't have support magic refine yet. Well, I've got the stones now, so... I want to make sure to keep my HP at like 600 as well. using White Wind immediately. It's probably a bad idea on his part. Well, if I hadn't botched that, I might have squeezed that in before he White Wind. They eat me. Alright, this should kill the first one and start on the second one. I had materials to make literally everything except Lionheart. Lionheart was the only one of his weapons that was grayed out. Well, I mean, it wasn't grayed out. It just wasn't on the screen at all. Oh! I got a Whisper. Ha! Progress! Oh, good. So the first Renzakuken is going to be big damage. Get him before he turns around, Squall. Oh, just the first hit. Then he turned around. We need one of these guys to drop an Adamantine, and then we can make Lionheart. And we will have Lionheart, which is the best weapon and best attack in the game. But killing these turtles is kind of a pain in the butt, because I can't get other people in my party without advancing the story, which I don't want to do today, for the benefit of the people watching the playlist on YouTube later. And because they have high defense, nothing I do to them really does a lot of damage at this point. This early on, yep. I might be able to make a better sword without ruining my chances at Lionheart, but I just... It would use up resources that we might need for something else. So I have a method that works. These guys will die to several Renzakukens. Marginally speeding up this process just is not going to gain me very much, if anything. Not all the turtles are the correct level either, because we're kind of low level. We're just, I think we're level 21. Not all of the turtles are going to be level 20, which is what we do require. Fortunately, they're kind of slow. But yeah, we tried hitting them with their elemental weakness. We tried pretty much everything in our capacity to increase the damage that we can do to these things. This will work eventually. This will work eventually. That could be our second motto of this project. This will work eventually. Shiva learned Doom. We can try Doom. Go ahead and start getting your stats. They are pretty slow, thankfully. Some of these turtles should be level 20 and above. Because some of them I was able to draw better magic from. Chance for first strike. Well, we'll doom you. That's just never gonna hit, is it? That was just a waste of a turn, wasn't it? Oh, I missed one. Oh, I didn't know you could get a limit break trigger even if... I thought you had to hit all the triggers in order to have a chance of it getting a limit break. Neat. If I confused them, I'd be afraid he'd use White Wind on me, which is another thing I don't want. So yeah, we just need to get two good attacks in there. In between White Winds. They don't use it every single round. And they don't correlate using it with being low on health, because they'll use it even at full health. Like, that wasn't a terrific Renzo Kuken. That was a kind of weak one. Just 5 hits and no limit break. If I already had brothers, counter would be a good move here. That's fine. Here's our Adamantine right here. It's coming. There it is. We got it. We didn't get it. I'm not actually sure how the drop math works in this game. Like, does the fact that we're fighting 2 Adamantoises in each battle increase the chances that we're going to get one of these drops? Or is it the same, or does it matter? All of his sword attacks look so much cooler than anything Titus can do. Poor Titus, he's such a dork. So this blinds me, but Squall has 255% hit chance. Just innately. So I don't think being blind actually matters to Squall at all. Maybe it gives him a higher desperation index because he's got a status ailment versus if he doesn't. I wonder if this one's the higher level one because he's using Sandstorm more often. I feel like I'm consistently getting more triggers with being blinded than not. Because there are several things I have going for me here. Low health adds to my desperation index. Being alone in the party, I believe, does. Having a status ailment also does. And all of that increases the chance I'll get more triggers on my Renzo Kuken and end it with a limit break. So let's just stay blind. That's also true. You might not be able to miss with a limit break in any capacity. Ooh, that thing bit me for a lot of damage. Big hundo! I'm gonna eat a potion. So in Final Fantasy games, when you use a potion from your inventory, the potion is gone, but it does not add like an empty bottle item. Like, we're not storing our empty bottles anywhere. I am forced, therefore, to conclude that in Final Fantasy games, people consume potions by eating the entire bottle. Squall would not litter. Come on, guys. That's fake news. It's all spun sugar. I'm going to die. How much? That's probably too much health, though. So in Final Fantasy XV, they don't consume potions by drinking or eating them. They hold them in their hand and they crush the bottle in their hand. And then weird magic sparklies happen. And they get healed. One turtle just did something to the other turtle's butt. And it was pink and it was magical. I'm gonna die in this fight. Oh, he's using White Wind. That's too bad. Noctis isn't just a prince, he's a magical prince. Did everybody see the awesome Twitter thing where somebody like modded Final Fantasy 15 to give Noctis a crew cut? And then Square Enix like, change his hair back, he's gonna get cold. Oh, I got eaten by a turtle. It was an unlucky fight, guys. And now Squall is dead on the beach, and his gunblade is broken, and none of his friends will ever know what happened to him. So here's what happened from the perspective of all Squall's friends just now. They were in the room talking about Cypher and about how he's dead now, and Squall got all emotional and stormed out of the room saying, "Nobody will ever talk about me in the past tense." And then he ran to the beach and got eaten by turtles, and his corpse was swept out to sea. And nobody ever, ever, ever knew what happened to him. And then something time compression, probably. Yes, there is a lore reason in Final Fantasy 15 why healing items work on Noctis and his friends, but not on other people. Because the magic energy that actually does the healing part, because there's no healing magic at all in that world. The magic comes from Noctis being the prince and having a connection through his blood to the Crystal of Lucis. Oh shoot, I threw it away. Which is why the Final Fantasy XIV crossover in that game is so friggin' stupid! Because the first thing this cat girl does when she joins your little mini adventure is uses healing magic and like, oh, I can just do this all day because I'm a white mage. And that's the noise she makes for some reason. And the immediate response to that is, oh my god, that's miraculous. Please help us in our war against Niflheim. Their response is, it's a cat girl. And that's the noise they make. I played both of the crossover events in Final Fantasy 15, and I hated both of them. But the Final Fantasy XIV one was worse because it actively hurt the lore of the game. Like, there's just magical portals to other dimensions, throughout Lucis. And Noctis knows about one, and knows a person from that dimension who can infinitely cast healing magic in a world where healing magic literally doesn't exist. And for some reason, he's not like, hey, help us in our war that we're literally fighting for survival here. Instead, he just goes on like one silly adventure with her and then never talks to her again. No, she actually sets up a shop in the middle of the map where you can spend like proprietary, I don't even know what you can buy in the shop. But she's the shopkeeper after that. Oh. I'm sure in Final Fantasy XIV, her whole thing makes a lot more sense. I'm sure, like, whatever her actual character arc is fine, and she's got an adventure, and... But you cheapen the lore of one world by crossing it over with another world that has incompatible lore. And I really think that was a mistake to do that in Final Fantasy just for marketing purposes. And I hope they don't do that kind of thing with 16. The other crossover they did was like for some weird mobile game that just doesn't matter. It's just you go on an adventure and then at the end of it you get the girl's sword. And it's mostly just watching a bunch of cutscenes and then doing one boss fight that kind of sucks. I have to buy more potions here in a minute. The other thing that storyline did is like the monster that the cat girl from another dimension is trying to hunt down is apparently just like a god from the world of Final Fantasy 15 that everybody just kind of forgot about. And then after you beat them, you can summon the god later in the same using the same system you can summon Final Fantasy 15's other gods. Like, oh, we just all forgot about one of the gods. Even though it's literally our job to make an accord with each of these incredibly powerful beings in order to maintain Noctis's divine right over the crystal. Like, it's part of the actual cosmology of the setting that there are a set amount of gods and that the Oracle has to go to each one in turn. But we forgot about one because Final Fantasy XIV, and then we're just never going to mention him again. He's there for the crossover mission, and then they're never mentioned again. And then the cat sets up a shop where you can buy the whatever. So that's the explanation in universe, I think, is that underneath the gods in Final Fantasy 15, like between gods and mortals, you have a tier of guardians. And like Noctis's dog is one of them. And then Gentiana is another. Like there's this set that are like Gandalf kind of creatures who are meant to guide humanity on the path of the gods, but they're not gods themselves. And they say, oh, well, this bird creature is just one of those, and nobody knew about her before, but she's there now. But the thing is, you can summon her using the same mechanics as you summon the other gods. So either there are lots and lots of these guardians out there, and they're summonable, and for some reason Noctis does not pursue this power of being able to call upon the guardians, or the bird thing isn't a guardian and is a god that everybody forgot about. And both of those explanations are stupid. It's equally dumb that there are apparently powerful guardians that Noctis could call upon in his time of need, and he just doesn't even pursue it as an option. Like, one falls into his lap, and he's not like, wait a minute, what other guardians are out there that we might have forgotten about? Maybe we can unearth some lost knowledge about our world and how it was created and why it was created and what I'm able to do with my power as the King of Lucis. Nope, we're just never going to mention it again. You just get a bird monster sometimes because Final Fantasy XIV exists. This is the face that this whole situation made me make. Going the other direction is fine. Doing a crossover with Final Fantasy XIV in the other direction is okay because it's an MMO. It doesn't have like an actual coherent cosmology. The cosmology is just whatever the most recent expansion was It literally doesn't matter. Players in that game don't care about the story anyway, for the most part. They're not building something coherent, they're building something marketable that they can make money off of for a long time. And they tried to turn Final Fantasy XV into that kind of platform. That was the business model that they were trying to pursue for a while. Final Fantasy XV was going to be a system where they could deliver more content in exchange for money for a long period of time, starting with the Broisodes that they released, and they had like a multiplayer expansion that they were pursuing. But it turns out there's just not a lot of interest in that kind of thing for a single-player RPG, so they ended up canceling the stuff. But the problem is, like, everything they did in pursuit of Final Fantasy XV being a, like, content delivery platform unto itself kind of damaged it as a game a little bit. Like, it's all still in there. It's all really dumb and noticeable. Every single time I go to Galden K, I walk up there and there's a big TV screen saying, "Here's the results of the Ignis photo contest." Because that just happens to be the last photo contest they ran when their community events were still live, I guess. There's always going to be a dot on my map saying, "Here's the crossover with the stupid mobile game we made if you want to do it." I don't want to do it. Anyway, I really like Final Fantasy XV on the whole. I think it's an incredibly good game, but obviously there's some development snafus that went into it that... Whoops. What am I doing? I accidentally hit the wrong button there. I'm hoping they learned a lot of lessons from building that going into 16. In fact, I think some of the development we saw in the Final Fantasy VII Remake was being informed by what was happening with 15 at the time. Because most of the time Final Fantasy VII Remake was in development, people thought it was going to be like an episodic game. Like, oh, they're going to release one episode per however long, and then at the end you'll have the complete game. That's not the model that they ended up doing, but I think it might be the model they were thinking about up front, which is why the rumors got started. Like, hey, if we can do this thing where Final Fantasy XV is like a platform unto itself that we can just release content to, and people will buy it, and we can make money like that, then maybe we can do the same kind of thing with Final Fantasy VII. Obviously, the Final Fantasy XV thing didn't work out for them. And I wonder what kind of impact that might have had on 7's development. Don't protect yourself. No. This is bad. This is real bad. We might never kill this guy now. I do love 15 though. Don't let me this kvetching. I'm complaining about like the business of game design and how sometimes that impacts the quality of the game, but the quality of this game is still really, really good. Talking about Final Fantasy 15. Love, love, love the game. Don't White Wind. Don't do it, buddy. You want to sandstorm me again. That's what you want to do. He wants to sandstorm me. Watch. Here it comes. Don't do it. No, sir. Oh, they're so slow. That's so helpful for me. his protect availed him not. But no items. I wonder if this is going to take longer than getting all those Elmo Oil cards did. Oh, you know, the drop rate's 5% for turtles level 20 to 30. I had looked it up. Which means, on average, we should have to do about 10 of these fights. I think we've done like 5 or 6. Okay, opening with the white winds, that's probably good. So white wind is just really good in this game. It looks like it heals you for equal to your max health, so you can use it even if you're wounded. In some Final Fantasy games, it does like equal to your current health, which makes it less useful as healing magic. Ah, now the other one's doing it. Gorsh! Just because it's a limit break doesn't mean it can't suck. Look at Kimari. Lulu, where are you at down here? Oh my goodness. I'm trying to shift my weight down here because my butt was falling asleep, and my dog has burrowed under the blanket where I like to put my feet. And I couldn't move my feet without stepping on her face. Goodness gracious. I think 7 hits plus a limit is about the best we can expect. I think that's the maximum. You missed the triple triad. We got all the Elmo cards we needed. We tried using Doom, it missed. I'm not convinced Doom could do anything here. We tried casting magic, it sucked. We tried Death Junction, didn't do anything. So the best way to kill these turtles is to land 2 or 3 Renzokukens, depending on if we get strong ones or not, before they have a chance to white wind. Aha! Wait, where's the town? This map is so hard to navigate. You can't see hardly any of it. Yeah, I'm going the right way at least. You can't see the locations on the minimap. It doesn't show you where the locations are, so you can't navigate using that. It's just all bad all the time. That's it. We just need one. We got two, actually. Both of them dropped. Burn me, daddy. Buy some more potions while I'm at it. Actually, the shop is over this way. I went the wrong way. Nope. Oh, I gotta go chase this dog down. That's somewhere in town here. The dog will be somewhere. I came down to the beach to see if Professor Hojo was down here chilling, but I don't see him anywhere. Lulu, that is my sock. Here we go. Oh, it's $2,000. How will I ever afford it? Feels good, man. But yeah, okay, so here's the deal. If we ever wanted to go back to Revolver for whatever reason, or Sheer Trigger, both of which we've had, we would have to expend the resources again. What that means is the game doesn't actually have memory of which weapons you've made. But yes, I could have made any weapon. Because of all the triple Triad we played. So my original thought was, I thought once you had been equipped with a weapon, you could go back and remodel to it for free. If that was the case, we would have had to make every weapon to make sure all of them were re-equipable. Because that's not the case, we only need to make the best weapons. And now... damage one enemy. That is not a particularly notable description of what that attack actually does. Buy some more potions. Buy some remedies. Buy some high potions. Buy some more Phoenix Downs. Alright, now we walk back to Galbadia Garden. Question is, who is going to be the lucky winner of the game's first Lionheart? Let's walk along the tracks. That way we'll get random encounters. Who's it gonna be? Who's getting lion-hearted? Nobody, because there's no ram. There we go. Is it this guy? Oh, he's punching me. He's real punchy. Oh my god! So, first of all, Lionheart gives him a big strength bonus, and second of all, I'm pretty sure the best weapons in this game ignore enemy defense. So, yeah, Squall is doing stupid damage now. Oh, I kind of want to go fight some Adamantoises now. Be like, ah, remember me? I was the guy doing 300 damage a hit a minute ago. Look at me now. That's like 10 times stronger than what we were doing. I'm just going to fight jabronis out here until I get a Lionheart. I'm not going to put in all that work and then not get Lionheart. Once we do the next story playthrough, the next session we play to do story stuff, we get the party back, we'll go to the junk shop and see what else we can make. Because I would not mind having Selfie's best weapon. Uh-oh. Not good. The steam on my head is I'm blind. So Squall's hit percentage is lowered by like 70% or whatever. Being blind doesn't actually do anything to Squall because he has a natural 255% hit percentage. But it does increase... I don't know what it's actually called, but there's... The game keeps track of like a desperation level. And what it does is, like, how much danger are you in? Because that determines how good of a limit break you get. The higher that desperation level, the more likely you'll get a limit break. And if you get one, the better it's going to be. It determines things like how many hits of Squall's Renzokuken, or how much time you get for Zell's Duel, or what spells get rolled into Selfie's rotation. Woo! Here it is. Sorry, little worm critter, but you're getting hit by pretty much the coolest attack in the series. Oh, only 7,000. So here we go. This is like 15 just guaranteed critical hits. We're 12 hours into the game. We're level like 26. We're like at the very beginning of the story still. I think canonically we're still on the second day, like in-game day. We just did like... So somewhere in another game, Walk is like, cool out, yeah? It's a little too much, Squall. Turn it down. The Machina. So we got Lionheart Disc 1, and I'm happy with that. So the reason Lionheart is the most important weapon is because Squall learns limit breaks based on what weapon he has. So that's the reason. That's it. Whew. How many paychecks have I received? I've got 60,000 bucks. I had like 200K, but I just bought a bunch of items. All right. I'm in a good place with that. I'm happy with that. Let's switch games now. No, Gilgamesh is better than Odin. Odin can only trigger at the beginning of fights. Gilgamesh can trigger anytime during a fight. So Gilgamesh is definitely the way to go. It's going to make Angelo searching trickier. But no, a perfect save should definitely have Gilgamesh and not Odin. Let's do some grinding. So here's another reason. If you only have Odin, you haven't collected everything that's possible to collect in the game. If you collect Gilgamesh, that proves you both collected Gilgamesh and Odin. You've done more collection than than otherwise. Okay. So I don't want to do any actual story progress today because I know I'm going to have to end the stream pretty abruptly. So instead of doing a short stream or doing no story progress, we're just going to start, like today's stream is going to be part of like a new playlist which just has straight naked grinding. Are you ready to leave? Are you going? If anybody was going to do the Lulu command, now's the time because she's ready to leave the room. She's ready to go. I don't know. Nobody has asked to see you today. Did you enjoy your nap on and underneath my feet? Oh, Sebastian's being saucy in chat. Look at that. Look at Sebastian being saucy. No, Edgar sucks. You don't want to see Edgar. Ugh. Ugh. There she is. There she is. Ah, she's squirmy. She's squirmy. She had a nap and now she's like all excited. And like, I want to be out in the house. I want to go chew on stuff. Just my little Lulu. Just my little Lulu. All my dogs are named after Final Fantasy characters, and they always will be. After Edgar dies, we have decided we're going to get a little boy Chihuahua. And the two names I really like that I'm going to pitch for my little boy Chihuahua that we get once Edgar finally kicks off is either Prompto. How perfect would that be? Like, get a little blonde Chihuahua named Prompto, and he's like real excitable and real yappy. Or Barrett. Barrett might be the coolest possible name for a Chihuahua in the world. Okay, done? Here, take your silly toy. Woo! Bye-bye. She gone. I think Barrett's a cool name for a dog. If I go to your house, you're like, "This is my dog Barrett." I'm like, yup. Sure is. Alright. Let's do some monster collection. Oh, actually, can I just hit the airship from right here? I have to walk out of here. Sure can. Probably we're just going to go in with Waka Orientitas here. Oh, he's also got Lionheart. I forgot we did that. All my homies got Lionheart. What up? I will equip everybody's capture just in case. Lionhearts for all. So if you weren't here for when we did the work, one of the things in the almost perfect save for this game is going to be having... We have 178 slots for equipment in this game. And one of the... So we can't literally have one of everything. There's too many different names for equipment to have one of every possible combination. But one of the things we're going to do is just prioritize weapons and armor that have cool names, or names that are like important to the Final Fantasy series, and Lionheart is one of them. This is not a very unique weapon in terms of what abilities it has, but it's called Lionheart, so
we're counting on.
We'll definitely be keeping that. We need to go to Besaid and just start capturing monsters. So we need 10 of each monster eventually. I'm going to just make a quick list here and make a spreadsheet. Looks like is there only 3 monsters to collect here? Dingo, Condor, and Water Flan. Okay, let's bring my spreadsheet up. Stay away from the summoner. Don't go into town? I won't. In fact, where am I? I'm on the beach, right? Yeah, I'm on the beach. Alright, Dingo, Condor, Water Flan. So we can keep track of how many of each we catch. Do you guys suppose Dark Valifor would be a completely hopeless fight right now? Like, there's no possible chance I could win that? With all of my... anything? Like, there's no way? James, thanks for hanging out, man. Sleep well, my friend. Dark Ixion schooled me pretty hard, but I didn't really try the fight. Dingo. Condor. I do not have auto haste. Don't have break damage limit. Oh, this is all 3. Dingo. Water Flan. Fort Condor. Not stacking kills on one person? I guess not. I'm just doing the fight as quickly as I can. I don't want to do a bunch of junk actions right now. God, I want to play Final Fantasy X too so much right now. You guys have no idea. I want to roll right over into X-2. Screw the grind. Let's play 10-2. Nah. We're not screwing the grind. We're resigned to the grind. Condor. Waterflan. I guess we don't actually need to keep track of it. The game will tell us when we reach the capture limit. I don't want to turn the speed up and turn on auto battle. We're doing a nice chill grindy stream right now. Speeding it up would be counterproductive. I just want to enjoy my day, you know what I mean? Just want to just chill out, grind a little bit, enjoy my day. Capture some tards. Later on I'm going to eat some ice cream. Final Fantasy X-2 is such a good game, and I'm like really primed to enjoy it. It's nice and cool in here now. We're going to reach a point in this little project I'm doing where this is going to be pretty much every stream is just grinding away at something. Because we'll have finished the story playthroughs of all the games. I think what I'm going to do is we'll keep track of how many games I played, like story completion. Once we've done 30% of them, we'll do the second run of Final Fantasy IV. And then once we've reached, like, 60%... No, you don't want to do it at 30 and 60. You want to do it at 40 and 80. 40% story completion through the series. We'll do another run of Final Fantasy IV. 80% story completion through the series. We'll do another run of Final Fantasy IV. And then the very last story completion we'll do is also Final Fantasy IV. So we gotta play Final Fantasy IV 4 times for this. Don't forget. Not counting the after years. So we are totally playing the after years. I am so happy to be done with this game's story, though. That's an enormous relief. It's one of the parts of this I was not looking forward to, was doing a story playthrough of Final Fantasy X. Doing 7 twice? No, only playing 7. There's no need to play 7 twice. Unless, I'm going to play 7 and 7 Remake, but those are very, very different games. We're playing 2 different versions of Final Fantasies 1, 3, and 4. Everything else, we're only playing 1 version of each game. But I don't want to do 7... Well, you know what? No, you know what? You're right. 7 Remake, I do have to play twice. I got to do a normal playthrough and then a hard mode playthrough. And Chrono Trigger, we're going to have to play at least twice. Because of New Game Plus. You can't unlock all the different endings unless you're on New Game Plus. Maybe there's others I'm not remembering. Maybe there are other games I'm going to have to play twice. So we might want to prioritize getting those done in the first half. Which means getting 7 done at some point in the first half. Yeah, slice and dice. Chrono Trigger is a Final Fantasy game, as far as I'm concerned. And no human being can convince me otherwise. I invite any of you to convince me Chrono Trigger is not a Final Fantasy game. Go ahead. Try it. Try it. I dare you. I dare you. Exactly. If Chrono Trigger wasn't a Final Fantasy game, why is there a villainous deck? Okay, we got all the dingoes. Got all the condors. We just need water flans. If Chewbacca is a Wookiee, then Chrono Trigger must be a Final Fantasy game. Ladies and gentlemen, that does not make sense. I don't want to fight this battle. Let's just get out of here.
I'll be right back.
Chrono Cross is not a Final Fantasy game. It is Chrono Cross. What a silly question. Alright, we got all the water flans. We can be done here now. Guys, I don't want to alarm anybody, but right now, Treble is trying to talk me out of playing Chrono Trigger with all of this. If Chrono Trigger is, so is Chrono Cross nonsense. Are you actually going to sit there and let him do that? I guess you are. Okay, so Kilika has 4 monsters we need. Dinorix, Killer Bee, Yellow Elemental, and Ragora. Everybody is against me in chat, and I don't appreciate it. I'm tuning all of you people out. None of you have my best interests at heart. You're all just trying to hurt me, and I don't have to listen to any of it. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to listen to you. I definitely don't have to listen to you.
Here we go.
I don't want to go that way, do I? They haven't rebuilt any of this? This is all still destroyed? Wow, Kilika, get your act together. See, the flaw in your thinking, Treble, is that Chrono Cross is not a Final Fantasy game, but Chrono Trigger is. So, like, I'm sorry to have to point that out to you, but... One Ragora. Oh, I'm sorry, Dino Nix, not Dino Rix. So it's 1110 right now. I'm going to try to keep track of these numbers in my head, but I can't make any promises. One, 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 one. I don't know. I've already lost track. We're just going to keep killing until it says capture limit reached on all 4 monsters. I could just print out a list, or I can just zone out and fight monsters until it says capture limit reached. I could do a lot of things. I'm assuming I don't want to go up to the temple, because that's where Dark Ifrit's hanging out. Am I correct in that assumption? Here's a hot take. Xenogears is more of a Final Fantasy game than Chrono Cross is. And I'm definitely not playing Xenogears. Would you guys even want to watch me play Xenogears? I would be miserable the whole time. And then I would just complain about anime the whole time. What about Vagrant Story? Vagrant Story literally takes place in Ivalice. Is Vagrant Story a Final Fantasy game? Yes, play Vagrant Story. Square Enix could probably just put together like a slapdash, quick and dirty like PS1 collection for $60 and put in like Xenogears and Vagrant Story and well, like Threads of Fate, Brave Fencer Musashi, like the whole PS1 catalog except for the Final Fantasy titles, and probably make a killing. Legend of Mana, put that in there. Could also do all the Saga games. Nope! Not even close. I am playing no Saga games. Well, if I'm playing Final Fantasy 2, I guess that's a Saga game. I am kind of curious. I know they're doing like a re-release of Saga Frontier. I'll probably buy that. I do have some nostalgic memories of Saga Frontier. But I won't be streaming it. I won't play it on stream as part of this nonsense. That's one of the reasons I'm interested in it, is apparently it's going to have content that was not in the original, like cut content that they're finishing and putting into the game. Also, the music in that game, I remember being exceptional. Do yourself a favor, if you've never played Saga Frontier, go on YouTube and look up a song from the Saga Frontier OST, the Bio Research Lab. That music is awesome. I remember I had a MIDI file of the Bio Research Lab music from Saga Frontier, and I could put it on loop and listen to it for hours while working on like my website or something back in the day. The game had some pretty nice artwork too, like stills of the game look really nice. It's just in animation, the sprite animation and stuff is pretty lacking. Like there's not enough frames for the sprite animation to actually look nice. But the actual artwork isn't bad. Because when you see them like actually in motion in battle, everything looks really janky and weird.
It's over.
I think the best character from like a story standpoint, like the best, like none of the characters really have a good storyline, and a lot of them are redoing the same content over and over and over again. But it's not hard to recommend the robot. T260 has kind of the most cohesive plot unto himself, or the magic girl Acellus. Like those two characters have like the best, like most cohesive stories. And the reason I would recommend doing one of those first is if you play the game and like get bored of it and quit, but you played one or both of those stories, you will probably have done all the content in the game by that point, and you'll have seen the best stories that the game has to offer. And chances of getting bored and quitting Saga Frontier are pretty high, I feel like. See, I remember Riki being one of the characters that I completed, but I don't remember Riki having like any plot at all. Or just pick whoever you think looks the coolest. Like, it really doesn't matter. I think Blue has... I think Blue has to complete more of the game's content than anyone else for his story. Because a lot of what you're doing in the game is unlocking, like, different types, like, schools of magic and stuff. And Blue has to do all of that content as part of his story. Like, you cannot complete his story. Okay, we're done with lizards? Okay, done with lizards. So if you just, like, who has the most content to do, Blue will take you through most of that content. If you just want, like, silly slapstick comedy story, like, haha, whatever, Red is good, because he's just basically Power Rangers, the character. I didn't particularly care for Red, but whatever. Red is another one of the characters I did complete, though. Alright, elements are done. That's probably our last bug, then, because they seem to appear a lot next to each other. Sebastian, there's no evidence that I'm currently live. Come on. Come on. And then there's Loot. Loot doesn't really have a story at all. It's just do whatever you want. We're actually done with these two. We don't need these at all.
I'll be right back.
Bugs and seed-spitting plant monsters. So if you want a character that's just like, I don't care about the story in this game, I just want the opportunity, like open world, this mess, then Loot is your option. Because I think Loot is basically just, I'm bored, and then it opens a spot on the map that's his final dungeon, and you can just go there. I also remember, like, some characters, like, arbitrarily blocking off certain areas or subquests, but I don't know a lot about how that all works. It's also been 20 years since I played Saga Frontier, so you might have to take all my recommendations with a grain of salt. It's entirely possible. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. I need bugs!
Take that.
Do I still need bugs? Nope. Just plants. Guys, I'm gonna go say hi to my wife who just came home. Then I'm gonna come and finish capturing these plant monsters. I'll be right back. Alright. I blew my nose, but I didn't check in the mirror to make sure I had no bugs hanging out. So I apologize if there's bugs all over my face. But you know what? Resigned to the grind, resigned to the bugs. That's how it is. This is the man I need. I imagine most of these areas are going to come down to just like grinding out the rarest of the monsters in the area.
Out of my
Don't need
way.
any of these tarts.
I'll be right back.
We're also building up our running counter for Tidus, Orin, and Waka doing this. A little bit. Oh, grinding up overdrive modes is going to be real boring, I think. I think that's probably going to be the worst part of this grind in this game.
I'll be right back.
Technically, I should be using Riku and not Orin, because Riku's faster and can probably still one-shot almost all the monsters for most of the game.
I'll be right back.
There's a boy. Oh, we've already got him, so we're done. We're done here.
Enough.
Excellent.
You're counting on.
collect our
Yeehaw! Here we go!
rewards, whatever they might be, for doing this. What you got for me, Sam? What can I do with this stuff? Like, I'm just gonna have 99 of this nonsense hanging out. So I can't imagine we need to, got 99 mega potions? Sure, let's use them up on this. That's fine. Let's learn Protect. So we have 40 of those. Already knows Faraga. Oh, we can teach everybody Bio. That's what we can do with these Poison Fangs. We can use up the ability spheres. We have 99 of everything else. Splurge on Protect. Already has Faraga. I bet we all have Faraga. All the Aeons do. Life might be useless on an Aeon, but we do have to teach it to all of them eventually. Like, that's gonna... We have to all learn Full Life, so it's gonna be... well, it's only 1 Mega Elixir each, so that's... Still a lot of Mega Elixirs, but... What's the other thing I just got 99 of? Stamina Tonics? What can I do with those, I wonder? Somewhere along the line I came out really ahead in Faraga items. Save those, I need them to get money. How do I get money with them? Might as well teach somebody Lancet, I guess. I don't know if the Soul Springs are good for otherwise. I'll keep them. I don't have a lot of them. Oh, I use them to... Okay, so... How many of those pieces of armor can I make? Ooh, what was cheer? I can do cheer. I can do aim. I can do reflex. 1 per armor, and each... Oh, wow, that's a lot of money. Alright, I will keep that in mind. I don't think there's any of these I can do right now and not waste a ton of my spheres, so... I really wish this wasn't a thing in this game. I really wish, like, the gains you get are so marginal, and you almost never use Aeons anyway. But, alright. What am I starting the Blitzball grind? Definitely not tonight. You got something better with alchemy, didn't you? Oh no, I guess you didn't. Just gonna try to fight one of these monsters, and I'm not gonna take any strategy from chat, and I'm just gonna try it. 3 stars. What are those good for? I got 60 of them. Customize 1 MP cost to a weapon, or break MP limit on an armor, or 5 to teach an Aeon double casts. Or I could use it to make no MP costs. Oh, I'm probably going to have to use all these on double cast, aren't I? Sure. What else do you have? Anything else? No, okay, that was it. 30 Mega Elixirs. I'm just going to use a bunch of them right now. We have to do it eventually anyway. I don't know if Mega Elixirs are useful for anything else. I don't know if these are useful for much of anything else either. I was not expecting to do this today, that's for sure. They can't learn it. Alright. Just gonna throw myself at one of this guy's monsters. Earth Eater. Oh, there's Shinryu. We can probably destroy Shinryu right now, right? No, let's... Let's try fighting this thing. We're able to armor break him. That's good news. Evade and... Booyah! I'm hoping like the first couple of these monsters aren't like super difficult. We only have to make double AP once because triple AP is the one we're going to make for everybody eventually. Evade and counter. Who else has a limit break ready to go? Kimari does. Actually, this is going to be useful. Kimari, you're going to help, buddy. I probably should steal from this thing. Oh, I already have 99 of those, so... Yuna does need a junk action here, though. Well, she's not going to do a junk action. She's going to double cast some Aga. Maybe you're not supposed to fight any of these things without break damage limit. That's an awful lot of 9s, and it's not dead yet. Oh, it looks like we just pissed it off. Well, she dodged, so that's good. Ooh, do you have Entrust? You do! Do it again! Do you have Entrusts? You don't. Everybody else taking an action, right? Tidus used a limit break. Auron... Did Auron do anything? I don't know if Auron did anything. Okay, Auron's done. Oh, it's dead. We got it. Cool. We killed one of the monsters. Alright. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me today. I was in a good mood all day. I enjoyed talking with you guys earlier. And I'm looking forward to things getting better from here on out. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Peace out, and